What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Eclectic Collector channel. So today, what I want to talk about is stuff that's coming out through, I guess, like December, the end of the year. And I was in Michigan last week on a work trip, and while I was in Michigan, I'd seen that a lot of stuff, was getting an English release. Stuff that was already in English, like digitally or whatever, is getting an English release. And then there's a bunch of stuff that wasn't yet in English that's also getting an English release. So I have a lot of stuff that I want to cover in this video, and I kind of want to jump right into it so that we can get this thing moving as quickly as possible. But I am super excited about these things. Some of this is stuff that I personally really wanted to see translated into English, and now we're finally getting it, and it feels really wild. And if I was going to do one of these videos, this is like the perfect time, in my opinion, to knock this out, because there's so much stuff that's either getting an English translation or that's getting like a deluxe edition. Things that didn't have a deluxe edition before are now getting a deluxe edition. So there's like a whole bunch of stuff that I want to talk about. If there's anything that I don't talk about in this video that you are personally excited about, let me know in the comments. And yeah, we'll discuss it. And yeah, let's start knocking this thing out. First, right off the bat, we're gonna kick this video off by talking about some stuff that Viz is going to be dropping. And if it has a release date, I will put the release date. But if it does not yet have a release date, I'm just going to I'm just going to talk about it. And yeah, well, like I said before, we'll just kind of go from there. So one of the first Viz acquisitions that we're going to be talking about, and it's one that I'm personally really excited about, we're going to talk about Mujina Into the Deep by Inyo Asano. So this is a series that I'm personally really excited for. It actually got an English digital release not that long ago, so now we're getting the physical copy of this manga. I can't really say too much about it myself because I haven't read the digital yet. Now that it's getting a physical, I'm definitely going to be picking it up, and once I pick it up, I'll actually do a video about it. But for the most part, this seems to be like Inyo Asano's like first like full action sort of a manga. But knowing that it is, Inyo Asano, I'm sure he's going to find some way to just make it like brutally depressing. And I'm sure like the lead character is going to have like some sort of like existential crisis that she has to, like fight through or whatever, while she's also like killing people or whatever, whatever the situation is in this manga. But like I said, once the actual physical, copy comes out, I'll have like way more to say about it. But I am super excited because like when it first got announced, in Japanese, and like there was panels or whatever, it looked like such an amazing sort of concept, and just the way that it's drawn and is really kind of violent, art style. Like if you've ever read Dead Demons, Destruction, you already know that like that story is really brutally violent. It's like you read something like Goodnight Boon Boon that's just like emotionally depressing, and then you read like Dead Demons, and that's also like emotionally depressing, but at the same time it's like really brutal and dark. And I really want to do a video about that series. For the most part, I don't think there's a release date yet for Mujina Into the Deep, but it's something that I really want to get my hands on. Ruri Dragon is also getting an official physical release, and that's something that I'm also really looking forward to. I've read like the first 9-ish chapters of Ruri Dragon. I think I have like the 8 or 9 first chapters of that series. I'm not really 100% sure, but I did a video about Ruri Dragon a while ago. I did it in a first impressions video, and my last video that I just dropped was also a first impressions video for Gift of Poison. But yeah, Ruri Dragon is something that I'm really looking forward to because it's like a slice of life sort of a manga, but with a girl who wakes up one morning to find out that she has, horns. And it's so much fun, dude. It's such an adorable series. Like, I don't think that there's any way, shape, or form that Ruri Dragon could offend anybody. Ruri Dragon, I loved, what I read so far of it, because it's like such a I want to say like optimistic story, you know, where like this girl finds out she's a dragon, and then she kind of has to go through the hurdles of finding out, you know, what it means to be a dragon, and then she's got like all these sorts of powers that she didn't know existed, and as she goes, you know, on about discovering more about herself as a dragon, and pretty much in like this coming of age sort of a setting, she starts to kind of unravel this web. I won't go into it. You know, I won't go too into it because like I want to cut this video down and I don't want to say too much for anybody that maybe hasn't read Ruri Dragon that wants to wait for the physical. But if you do want to hear more about it, you can check out my video, my first impressions 3-parter video. I talk about Ruri Dragon for like 10 minutes in that video. So yeah, if you want to know more about that series, that's a great place to get some more information. But yeah, for the most part, girl who is part dragon, slice of life, super adorable. It's like a comfy sort of a manga, you know, like there are some parts of it where like there's a little resistance, you know, and like not everybody's like a fan of Ruri, and some people are kind of scared of her because of that fact that she is like part dragon or whatever. But for the most part, it's kind of like a Komi can't communicate, but if she had horns. And she was a little bit more outgoing, because Ruri is kind of an outgoing girl, and I think that she is a great protagonist. You know, some stories kind of suffer from that, you know, where like the protagonist isn't really that interesting, but I feel like she is a great choice for a protagonist. And yeah, I can't wait to get back into the manga, and once that, you know, physical goes up for pre-order, I'm gonna order my own copy, and you'll see it in one of my haul videos. So Vagabond is getting deluxe editions, which I'm personally excited for. I have the first 6 volumes, I guess the Viz Big volumes of Vagabond, and I'm thinking I'm going to end up trading those in the way that I traded in my Vinland Saga volumes, 7 that I had, to collect the big hardcovers by Kodansha, and I love the way they look on the shelf. Plus, they take up a lot less space. So yeah, I'm gonna end up probably trading in my Vagabond volumes for those hardcover, those thick, tall hardcover volumes, and they'll look great on the shelf. I think, you know, given now that we're going to get these definitive editions for Vagabond, I'm wondering what the odds are that like we'll get Slam Dunk as well, also by Inoue, or even like or Real, another series also by him. So yeah, man, that's something that I'm personally really looking forward to, you know, adding to the shelf. I know there was people when the definitive edition was announced. I know there were people that were like really upset. There was people saying they just completed their sets, like they'd just gotten, you know, the 12th volume of Vagabond of the Viz Big editions and completed their set. So, and then now, you know, this is announced, and I'm kind of glad that I only have the first 6, because it's going to be a lot easier for me to, you know, get rid of them. And I'm not getting rid of them, you know, because like I hate the series. I'm getting rid of them so that I can, you know, pick up the tall hardcovers, and I'm really excited for that. That's an announcement that, you know, really got me pumped. And there's certain things that I'm wondering too, you know, if we're not going to eventually get, you know, like hardcovers for, like I'd love to see like a Gantz hardcover, or like an Elfin Lied hardcover. I think that would be really sick, you know, if Dark Horse, you know, decided to do that, which would kind of suck for me, because like I have all of Gantz, you know, in the those little editions that are kind of unfortunate because of how wild, you know, the artwork for Gantz is, and it would be sick to see it in something like, you know, like that, you know, super tall. And I feel like this will be the perfect opportunity for me to start it and to, you know, knock it out for a video, do like a Let's Review, or, you know, or something like that. And now for the final announcement of this line of acquisitions that I'm personally looking forward to. We have The Climber by Shinichi Sakamoto, and then there's another artist, I think two other artists that were involved. I think Shinichi Sakamoto, for the most part, on The Climber was the dude who did the artwork, and then somebody else, you know, wrote the story. But regardless, it's a series that I own in Spanish. I have the first 2 volumes of The Climber in Spanish, and now we're gonna get The Climber in a physical. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be like those homunculus volumes that I got up there, you know, the homunculus ones, and then I got Fable up there as well. I'm thinking it's going to be like that, you know, where it's going to be like a nice, you know, thick sort of an omnibus in the way that we got Innocent as well, where Innocent is also like a nice thick omnibus volume. So that'll be really cool, dude, to own a physical English copy of The Climber. And I'm going to keep my Spanish volumes as well, you know, because I love, you know, supporting Shinichi Sakamoto. I think he's a phenomenal creator. I've read Innocent by him. I did a video about Innocent. And then I've also read DRCL Midnight Children, which I also did a video about. And you can kind of see, you know, like where his art goes in the future, you know, after doing The Climber. Because in his documentary with Archipel, you know, he kind of talked about, you know, after The Climber, he wanted to change his art style a bit and try something different. And he started to do Innocent. And now, you know, with DRCL Midnight Children, he's kind of like taken the style, you know, that he created with Innocent and kind of taken it even further in this really unique direction that, like, when you look at his art, you know that you're looking at Shinichi Sakamoto. It's kind of like the same thing with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. You know, like when you read JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, when you see the way the characters are drawn, like, you know you're looking at something that Araki did. So that's pretty rad, you know, and I'm really excited for it. I'm really excited to see The Climber, and I follow Shinichi Sakamoto on Instagram, so he was sharing it as well, and like he shared a picture of like all the different Climber editions, you know, like in all the different languages that it's available. Like I guess he has the first volume or maybe the whole set or whatever for all the different languages in which The Climber is available. So it'll be rad, man. It'll be rad to have The Climber and to be able to do a video in English, you know, a video about the English edition of The Climber. That'll be really cool, because I was going to talk about The Climber in a video that I'm going to do eventually, that I've been putting off forever, which is like manga that I want to see translated into English. And I got a bunch of stuff, you know, for when I do that video, things that I want to see translated into English. Eventually, hopefully, before all of the things that I want to see translated into English actually get translated into English. But this volume of The Climber was, you know, initially going to be a part of that video. So that's something that I'm really looking forward to. I'm sure a lot of you are also really looking forward to it, because the artwork for The Climber is unreal. And I think that's what put Shinichi Sakamoto on the map for a lot of people. You know, I wasn't around, you know, for that era of his work. I kind of discovered him through that Archipel interview. Like, I really had no idea who Shinichi Sakamoto was, but after seeing his artwork and seeing, you know, seeing Innocent, it definitely piqued my interest. And then once, you know, Midnight Children, you know, came out in English, I picked up Midnight Children. And then when Innocent was announced, I 100% hit that pre-order button so quick. So, you know, being able to add The Climber now, you know, about pretty much like mountain climbing and whatnot, and the way the vistas or whatever that you see on the panels for The Climber are just absolutely gorgeous, and it's gonna be wild, man, to add that one to the shelf. So yeah, that's something to look forward to. And something also by Viz that wasn't announced as a part of this recent acquisition is Kagurabachi is getting a physical release that's coming out in November, and that's something that I'm really looking forward to, because I love Kagurabachi. I talked about it forever ago on the channel. I did a first impressions video about Kagurabachi, and I talked a little bit about, you know, how it was getting all this unwarranted hate or whatever, or people just like kind of making fun of it. And now it's become one of the biggest series where like there's a lot of investment. Though I do stand, you know, by what I'd said when I first talked about it, and that is that the beginning of it is kind of slow. So for anybody that hasn't yet read it and is maybe waiting for this physical to drop, the first part of it is a little slow. You know, it's kind of generic, I guess. It's not the best. But I will say that once it picks up, it hits a certain point and there's a certain character introduced. And once that character is introduced, the story explodes and it becomes a lot of fun. It's such an action-packed series, and just give it a little bit of time. Like I said, you know, like maybe the first 3 or 4 chapters are a little... It takes some time to get going, you know what I mean? But once it does, you know, once it hits that point where we get introduced to a certain character, it becomes a lot of fun. And yeah, I think it's one of the best currently running manga series is. I'm sure there's people that won't like it or whatever, because they're gonna find reasons to hate on it. Everybody always does whenever something gets popular. People find a reason to dog on it and say that, oh, it's mid or it's this or that. But they'll still read 30 chapters of it and still sit there and call it mid. And it's like, why are you even reading it, dude? Why are you still in the comments like 30 chapters later? But yeah, I mean, that's something that I'm definitely going to be showing off, in one of my eventual haul videos in November, right? So it'll probably be like my, I'll probably do it in like January, for like my November, December haul or something. So if you want a good action manga, I definitely think that is one that will pique a lot of people's interest. And then also in November, we've got another series coming out called After God. And I wrote down the synopsis for it because I kind of skimmed it a little bit and I looked at some of the artwork, and the artwork looks like it's going to be a wild story. And so the synopsis for After God is that 30 years after the gods reduced Tokyo to rubble, survivors set out to answer a seemingly impossible question. How do you kill a god? I looked at a lot of the artwork for this one just to kind of like, get interested in it, because the premise for it sounds really wild, and after having looked at the artwork, I'm definitely sold. It looks kind of gritty, and it kind of gives me like Hell's Paradise vibes. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of when I was looking at it. It kind of reminded me of like Hell's Paradise. And there was another manga too that I can't remember right now off the top of my head that it also like kind of reminded me of, but I've seen it around. Like, I've seen the cover around for this series, and I know I've seen people talk about it, so it's definitely something that I think is going to be worth getting into when it drops in November, so the fall. And yeah, if you're interested in any of these things that I've talked about so far, let me know in the comments. We're going to keep this train on rolling. I still got a bunch of stuff to talk about. All right, so we got two more Viz ones that I want to mention. I guess Hunter x Hunter has got a 3-in-1 coming out soon too. I don't own Hunter x Hunter. I did watch the anime. I love the anime for Hunter x Hunter. It's one of those things where like it just progressively gets worse. Like it just gets like, it starts off like, that's one of my favorite things about Hunter x Hunter. It's like it starts off like so sweet and innocent, and then by the end of it, of the anime, I mean, by the end of it, it's like so dark and brutal. And it's just one of those things, one of those transitions that like I just did not, I didn't see it coming because like I didn't read the manga, and I still haven't read the manga, but I do plan on getting it now that it's getting this 3-in-1 edition coming out. I'm 100% picking it up whenever that goes live for pre-orders. I'm gonna pick that up. And like I said earlier in the video, if it has a pre-order date set, as of the making of this video, if it has a pre-order date set, I will put that date here. But if it doesn't yet have a pre-order date set, I'm not going to put one because I don't have one, and I don't want to like start lying and saying, oh yeah, it's going to come out at this point. All I have is speculation. Some of this stuff I'm assuming is probably going to come out in the fall, even though it hasn't actually technically been, given a release date, maybe the fall or maybe early next year or whatever. But all I care about is that it's announced and that it is going to happen. And I don't know if it's going to get pushed back. There's no way of knowing. I don't know. I don't work for any of these companies. I just know that I'm a person who was interested, and I wanted to make a video talking about things that I'm personally interested in. And one that I actually would really like to see too by Viz is Blue Exorcist. Like, I love Blue Exorcist, and I saw the anime forever ago. I haven't read any of the manga like whatsoever, because I don't want to pick up the single, like volumes of it. I want there to be like a 3-in-1 in the way that, Hunter x Hunter is getting a 3-in-1. So hopefully we do get one. That would be really cool. I would love to see Blue Exorcist in a 3-in-1, unless they're just not doing it because maybe that series, isn't selling like high numbers or whatever, and they don't want to, take a chance on something that isn't gonna sell well. But hopefully it does. If it ever does get a 3-in-1, I will 100% be there. I will be one of the first people to hit that pre-order button because that's something that I love that series. Like I watched the anime, both seasons of the anime through twice. It's such a solid series. But yeah, I would love to see like a 3-in-1 or even like a box set. I'd love to see like a Blue Exorcist box set if we don't get like a 3-in-1 or something. Just a way to be able to like collect a bunch of it, in one fell swoop. So yeah, that's something that I would personally really like to see. All right, so by Dark Horse, we've got the Trigun Deluxe Edition hardcovers, which I'm really looking forward to. This was announced, I think, like last year or year before last. I think it was last year that they announced these Trigun editions, and it's something that I'm really looking forward to. I've never read the Trigun manga, but I love the anime. I've watched the anime, I don't even know how many times. I can't even count how many times I've watched the anime through, because I absolutely love it. I used to watch it all the time on Adult Swim when I was a kid. It used to come on, like, I think at like 11 o'clock at night, and I would sit there and watch it because I loved Bash the Stampede and the Bernardelli Insurance Girls and Wolfwood and Blue Summers, Knives, all these characters, dude, and they live rent-free in my head. Like, I grew up watching these people, and like, it was my favorite anime ever. It's still my favorite anime ever. I got it right here. And I also have Badlands Rumble somewhere. And yeah, dude, it's going to be wild to be able to hold that copy in my hands. Because for me, the anime has meant so much. And like, I wanted to get like a Vash the Stampede tattoo, or even like Wolfwood's Cross, like tattooed on me somewhere. Maybe eventually, that'll be something that I do get, because it's a tattoo that I wanted for a really long time. It's one of those series that for me has just meant the world, because like I grew up with it, and it has a lot of meaning to me. The way that, Cowboy Bebop has meaning for certain people. Trigun, for me, has a ton of significance, and it's something that I used to watch all the time. And yeah, possibly my favorite anime of all time. And then also by Dark Horse, we're gonna get At the Mountains of Madness. I think it's gonna be a complete. I think it's complete all-in-one Tallboy, pretty much a hardcover edition of At the Mountains of Madness, which of course is by Go Tanabe and based on the story by H.P. Lovecraft. Yeah, like I'm pretty sure Go Tanabe is like covering everything that H.P. Lovecraft has done. He's turning it all into manga series. I have one that I want to do a video about at some point called Shadow over Innsmouth. That's another one that he did. And then he also did Call of the Cthulhu, I think, if I'm not mistaken. That's another one that he also did a manga edition for. And so he's covered a lot of his stuff, and I think that's pretty cool. I'll try to pick them up, as I kind of go through it, but I'm really looking forward to that At the Mountains of Madness hardcover, because I was going to pick up the paperbacks of At the Mountains of Madness, and then once that hardcover was announced, I was really glad that I didn't, because now I can just pick that up instead. And I did start reading his other one, just Shadow over Innsmouth, I guess manga version, and I do enjoy the artwork, and it's cool to see, that story translated, into Japanese and then translated back into English. So yeah, that's something that I am really looking forward to, is adding At the Mountains of Madness. I'm going to be adding so many hardcovers, dude. I'm going to be adding so many hardcovers to my collection. It's pretty wild, how expansive my hardcover collection has become, and how much bigger it's going to become, once I add all these new ones that are coming out. And there's even more hardcovers still that I haven't yet talked about that are going to be coming out at some point in the near future. By Ablaze Manga, we've got Gannibal. This is something that I know a lot of people that I follow on Instagram and on YouTube or whatever. This is a series that a lot of people were really excited about. And so I ended up pre-ordering it, and I think it's coming out either in June or July. I'm not really 100% certain on the actual release date of this series. But as far as I can tell from the artwork, because I really didn't look too much into reading the description of it, it looks like it's about zombies, or a specific zombie. But it kind of reminds me of, I don't know if any of you have ever seen the film 30 Days of Night, where that's pretty much the premise. There's like a whole town or whatever in Alaska, and this is true, where it's dark for like 60 days. It's 60 days. In real life, it's like 60 days where like this town is completely pitch black. And in and in 30 Days of Night, it's 30 days instead of 60. And it's based on a comic book, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I'm pretty sure 30 Days of Night is based on a comic book by the same name. And that's kind of what this reminded me of. But in this, I think it's just like a soul dude who was like zombified or whatever, because I saw a bunch of the covers, for different volumes of the series, and I see the same dude from the first cover, and I see the same dude from the first cover on multiple covers. And I don't know, I guess it's somebody who like killed some old woman, and he ends up being arrested, but then there's something weird about him, and he's like kind of like zombified. And yeah, it's supposed to be like a really good horror story, but like I said, I don't know anything about it. I've never read it, and I just know that a lot of people are like really excited for it to be translated into English. So I'll drop a video about it, just kind of giving my thoughts on that series. But check it out for yourself. Like look up the title, look up the artwork, and see if it's something that you feel like picking up. Again, if there's anything that I've talked about so far that you are interested in, or that you've read on the scan site, or that you read on the Shonen Jump Viz app, or the Manga Plus app, let me know what you think. If there's anything that you're looking forward to, again, let me know in the comments below. And next up, we've got Vertical, and from Vertical, we've got Ajin Demi-Human, the complete collection, part 1. So I've never read the manga for Ajin, but I did see the anime that was on Netflix that has like the same kind of weird CGI that Blam has, and that Knights of Sidonia has, that for whatever reason everybody's using like this really choppy, weird CGI, and Ajin kind of had that same sort of weird CGI. But this is something that I'm really looking forward to, because like I've seen panels, for the manga, and it looks pretty wild. It looks pretty rad, so it'll be nice to see it the way that it was initially drawn. And there's certain series where like I'll give it to the anime, and I don't want to say which series is because I don't want to offend anybody, but there's certain series where like I'll give it to the anime and say like the anime looks so much better than the manga. But I feel like this is one of those cases where the manga just looks a lot better, a lot nicer than the anime looked. But I'm not trying to hate on the anime, because the anime was actually was decent. I enjoyed it. I think I at least completed the first season of it. I don't remember how far I got into the second season of Ajin. I can't even tell you if I completed the series or not, because it was forever ago, that I watched it. I watched it around the same time that like I was watching like Knights of Sidonia. So it's been a really long time since I watched it, so I really can't, give you too much information. But I know that like there's like these shadows or whatever that exist within people, or a part of them, whatever. And it's kind of like, I was going to say a name of a series, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. I want to say almost like Fire Punch, with like Agni, where like you can cut his arm off and it grows back. Ajin, I think, is kind of the same thing, where like because of the shadows or whatever that are attached to these people, they don't die, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's what it was with Ajin, but it's been so long since I consumed it that like I don't remember it. But I'm thinking like based on the price point, because I think these are selling for like $26 retail. I think they're going to be like paperbacks. I think they're going to be paperbacks, but don't quote me on that. I think they're going to be like those master editions there, in that colossal edition right there. I think they're going to be like that. They're going to be paperbacks, but I'm not 100% certain. If you do know, let me know in the comments if it's going to be a hardcover or a paperback. But I was looking to see if it's anything about there being a hardcover, but I don't think it is. I'm pretty sure it's a paperback. But that doesn't matter, because I'm still going to pick it up. I do want to get it. There's also like singles that are available that you can pick up if you don't feel like, adding like a big tall boy to your shelf. But that's something that I'm really looking forward to, and that's dropping by Vertical. All right, so the next hardcover that I'm going to be talking about, this is also by Vertical, is Ashita no Joe, Fighting for Tomorrow. This is going to be in a hardcover with like 580 pages, and that other edition that I was talking about, that Ajin one, is going to be like 680 pages. So it's going to be a bit of a thicker boy than this Ashita no Joe edition. But this one's going to be in a hardcover, and the artwork looks pretty cool. I'm excited for it. I've never read it. I think there's an anime. I've never seen the anime. I do want to. Another one that I'd really like to see, now that we're getting Ashita no Joe, I'd love to see Hajime no Ippo. I think Hajime no Ippo, like getting an English translation would be so rad, because it's got the anime, and the anime is also now on Netflix. So I have this service. I think it's a free service. I'm pretty sure everybody can access it. It's called Retro Crush. And Hajime no Ippo is on there all the time. And sometimes like I'll sit there and like I'll watch a little bit, of an episode of Hajime no Ippo. But like I don't want to just watch like a random episode, like episode 40 or something, you know what I mean? Because I don't know who these characters are, and like I don't really have a relationship with them, and like I'd really like to see it from the beginning. So like I really don't watch too much of it. But like through watching that, through watching Retro Crush, there's a bunch of series that like I really want to start, from the beginning. Like City Hunter is another one that like I see all the time, and like it's really piqued my interest. But like it's always like in the middle of an episode, and like I don't know what the hell is going on because I don't know any of these characters. But it looks so like rad. It's like definitely dated, but that's another one that would be cool. Like I wouldn't mind seeing, I wouldn't mind seeing that get translated into like an omnibus or something. There's another series we're getting that I can't remember the name of off the top of my head that is getting a physical at some point. I'm going to put it right here because I don't remember if I added it to this list. And these are like older series that are, being released in English or being re-released if they already had a release and it was just forever ago or whatever, and it's getting a new release now. I think that's cool. I'd love to see Hajime no Ippo get an English translation. I don't know if it already had one at some point in time or not, but I don't think it did. If it did, let me know. If you know for certain. That's another one that I would love to see since we are getting Ashita no Joe fighting for tomorrow. That would be really cool to see some of these like older series or a lot more of these older series be reintroduced, for like a much younger audience, people that weren't around that didn't get to experience it back then, given that manga's become such a huge thing now, and it's just like progressively getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger to the point where like I see manga at Walmart, you know what I mean? Like that's how big of an impact it's had, and yeah, dude, I think that this is the time right now to just start adapting everything, readapting things, re-releasing things that were already, released in English for newer audiences. All right, I've only got one by Kodansha, and that is Versus, which is written by One. And I'm going to give you pretty much the summary for this one. So humanity has been oppressed for hundreds of years due to the rise and invasion of its natural enemy, demons. The world was ruled by the great demon king and his 47 subordinates, demon lords. While people live in fear, 47 people selected from all over the world have been named heroes and are preparing to fight against the great demon king's army. So this is one that I want to pick up based on it solely being written by One, and it's being drawn by a dude named Kyotaro Hazuma. So the artwork looks really good. So this Kyotaro dude is a phenomenal artist. And of course, I'm not going to put it past One to pick somebody that knows what they're doing, to bring this story to life. And I've seen the artwork. The artwork looks really rad. And obviously, we all know One for One Punch Man. So this is going to be really cool to check out a new series. This got translated into Spanish, I think, last year. And I was going to pick up the Spanish version of it. But then I saw that we're getting an English version as well, so I decided to just chill on picking up the Spanish edition of it, and I'm gonna just get this English edition that I think is dropping sometime like in the next handful of months, if I'm not mistaken. Obviously, for everything that does have a physical release date, I'm gonna put it right here. For everything that does have, as of right now, a physical release date, because not everything that I'm talking about, as I've said before, will have a physical release date as of the making of this video. Some things will probably end up getting it a little later. All right, the last thing we're going to be talking about in this video is by a mangaka that I really want to see some of his other things be translated into English, and we'll talk about that in a second. But by Hideo Yamamoto, we're getting Hikari Man. I don't know anything about it, but this was told to me by somebody that I follow and follows me on Instagram. So I'd like to thank that person for that. You know who you are. And then I should have mentioned this earlier, but it was also one of my Instagram followers and somebody that I also follow on Instagram that told me about the Hunter x Hunter 3-in-1s. So to that person, you know who you are. Thank you for that. If you're still watching this video, I know it's got extremely long. But yeah, I mean, I don't know anything about Hikari Man, and I kind of don't want to know. I kind of don't want to know anything about it. So please don't tell me what it's about. I'm definitely looking forward to it because it is Hideo Yamamoto, and like I really want to go in blind when I read it the way that I went in blind with Homunculus. I want to go in blind with this. I'd really like to see Voyeur in English. I'm sorry, I'd really like to see a reprint for Voyeur. It had a print forever ago. I'd love to see a new print of it, maybe cleaned up a bit. I'd also love to see Mail by Hosui Yamazaki. That would be really cool to see a Mail reprint. And then I'd also love to get Ichi the Killer by Hideo Yamamoto. The other one that I mentioned before, Mail, is Hosui Yamazaki. He's one part of the team right there that writes the Kurosagi Corpse Delivery Service. So I'd love to see his series Mail get an English, get an updated, release or whatever. That would be really cool. Maybe Dark Horse, I'll take that charge at some point. Hopefully that would be really cool if they did. But yeah, by Hideo Yamamoto, we're getting Hikari Man at some point, and yeah, like I said, I'd love to see Voyeur, get a reprint, and to see Ichi the Killer be translated, into English. That would be really cool. I feel like there's enough material there. I mean, the fact that we got Homunculus, I don't see why we can't get Ichi the Killer. Yeah, that's everything that I wanted to talk about. So that was like 13 or 14 things that are getting English releases at some point or another. Some of them are already dated, so we already know when they're getting their release dates. Other things aren't dated yet, so we'll have to wait and see, when they're going to drop. Either way, I'm looking forward to all of these things. I'd love to see what you are all looking forward to. There's a ton of stuff coming out. I haven't talked about everything. There's other things that are also coming out that I have pre-ordered. But these are the ones that I really wanted to talk about. And I left some of the other ones out because I don't really think that they're that big of a deal. At least to me, they're not that big of a deal. They're just kind of like random manga series. And yeah, that's all I got for you. If you enjoy what I'm doing here and you want to support this channel, you can do so by heading over to the Patreon. It's $2 a month. It helps the channel. It helps me out to, pretty much replace equipment if enough people, decide that they want to join the Patreon. I do behind the scenes videos and whatnot. I do outtakes from these videos. I post sometimes up to a week or two early projects that I have cooking that I'm going to try to get out for you guys at some point in the future. But if you don't feel like joining the Patreon, you can also drop me a super thanks underneath this video. That also helps. Any way that you all want to help this channel out. It doesn't have to be monetarily. If you want to share these videos with your friends or just, like or comment or subscribe, it all helps. You don't have to pay me in any way, shape, or form. I'm just saying those are options for anybody that does want to do that. But yeah, man, if you want to share this video or even just liking it, commenting on it, all that helps. It all means the world to me. Seeing your comments, it's definitely cool to know that, somebody is, talking back and that there are people that watch this and that, enjoy these videos. That really does mean the world to me. I hope that I was able to, tell you something that you didn't already know with this video. Maybe something that you didn't know was getting an English translation or didn't realize it was getting a physical coming up. If I helped you in any way, shape, or form, feel free to let me know in the comments. If there's something that you're excited about that I didn't talk about, please let me know as well. And that's all I've got for you. This video is long enough. It doesn't need to be any longer. So thank you so much for hanging out with me. It's been real. Please take care of yourselves.
Yo, it's himself. The Shadowrunners clique, aka Sleep Allah. Take you on a mental and live for one day, y'all. Sheets, y'all. Guns, y'all. Yo, who got the guns? Who got the coke? Hustle them through like big punch cholesterol before he croak. Rest in peace, but I bless in peace and live to one day lean shoots. Rap over beats and tell wild stories, the mythology mystery. Choke on your own misery, fuck them, we're the wild bunch. Yo, I asked him if this bike could punch. This shit made me lose my lunch. Bro grabbed the rocket, I said chill before he cocked it.